was devastating, and it was very sudden because I was at Javed Saab's birthday party 3 days before I got to know this. So I had no clue. And then suddenly every report was positive. I've become fearless and shameless both. I patted myself. I said, yeah, look at this. Like tomorrow I have my next chemo. And today I'm sitting here and I'm fixing, things in the sound and something that didn't work in the music. We used to have a blast in my room. Yeah, it was singing, stand-up comedy, jokes, politics. Like we were solving the problems of the world, doing everything. And my nurses, they used to come in between and say, ma'am, hospital hai." I felt that, okay, life is so fragile, it's nothing. You just live day to day. And it became like, chalo yaar, theek hai, kya hai?
And how did you tap this side of you?
I think maybe because I'm an actor. And many people reached out to me saying that, oh my God, you have such beautiful people around you. We don't. It's been so lonely, this whole battle. And I think it's very, very important to be surrounded by people who care.
Tanishta, welcome to the Hollywood Reporter India.
Thank you.
Thank you for sitting down with me. I am so moved by your story and the journey you've had over the last few months. And I can't even imagine what it takes to hold on to a creative dream while battling a diagnosis like you did. First things first, how are you doing? I'm really so in awe of your spirit. And I have to say, you look amazing.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. I'm fine as of now. My treatments are almost over, but I'm going to be on a target medicine for the rest of the year.
Okay.
And then, yeah, fingers crossed. I just hope that's how it remains. Like, I feel how I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling okay.
It's great to hear.
Yeah.
Would you be okay to go back a couple of months to take me back to when you first heard it happened and what sort of came over life then?
I mean, obviously, needless to say, it was devastating. And it was very sudden because I was at Javed Saab's birthday party 3 days before I got to know this. So I had no clue. And then suddenly every report was positive.
Right.
And which is not a good thing.
Of course.
And and I realized that it had spread and it was stage 4 and not looking good. So obviously at that point of time, my first thing was plan B for my daughter. I have an old mother and a daughter, they both are dependent on me. I used to keep my reports in the car because I didn't want to take them up home, and it took me a while to reveal it to my mom that this is what I'm going through and this is how it's going to be.
So who had you shared it with?
Actually, initially, nobody the first few days. Then I shared it with my sister who doesn't even live in India. She lives in New York. And she was the one who actually coaxed me and said that, listen, you need support because I'm going to come, but I am not going to be there, throughout your treatment and all. This is going to be a long drawn thing and you really need support and you have to reach out to your friends and you just have to not be strong.
Yes.
For the first time in my life, that, yeah, I'm the older sister. So I've always been the responsible one. I have been responsible for people, and so this was, I had to learn to be vulnerable and to reach out.
Well, that sounds beautiful in the best way possible.
Yes.
And in the midst of all of this, you now have a film that has a world premiere in Busan. Full Plate is going to Busan. I can't even fathom the beats before you decided to go ahead with completing this film.
Yeah.
When you got diagnosed, what was it that gave you the courage to want to finish this film in the middle of something so life-altering?
When I was receiving this award, I felt both numb and elated at the same time. And looking back, I was thinking that everything that can go wrong in anybody's life just went wrong. But this is the end result. And today I feel alive again. Well, the film was anyway very difficult to make because when I was shooting, the person who was financing us and producing it in the beginning, he ran into some problems. So it was tough to finish. And then my co-producers came on board to complete the film. And as I finished my edit, I was like, I was so relieved that, now I have the money to finish the film and all. And just as I finished the edit and I was getting into music and sound and DI and all, this happened. So obviously, I did ask myself at that point of time that it's a testing time. Why is life doing this to me? And I couldn't complete, because I just had to rush into treatment because it was also an advanced stage, so we couldn't wait.
Of course.
And but after the first 3 rounds of chemo, I kind of figured that, that's how my body reacts. And it's always a 21-day cycle, the chemos. So the first 10 days are really bad and you feel that, why am I doing all this? I'm not going to live. But the next 11 days, you start feeling better and everything looks positive and you feel that. So I decided from the 3rd cycle that now I told my producers, they've been actually really, really supportive and wonderful, to book the studios, to speak to the music director and fix appointments, and let's just finish the film.
So you worked within those 11-day windows when you were feeling like you could?
Yes. Some of it was done remotely because I wanted to tweak the edit a little. So I spoke to my editor and I asked him, do you want me to come? He said that, what would you prefer? I was like, if you do it remotely and if I'm fine, if I'm satisfied, then I'm not going to come. So some stuff we did remotely, even with music. But some stuff, of course, I had to go. So I did quite a bit of the post-production in this manner. And to be honest, we are creative people, we live for this. So it helped me in my healing.
How do you mean?
I think I was looking forward to something. I wasn't only thinking that, I'm just stuck with this illness. And of course, my body during chemo was going through a lot. All these IVRs, it's still like so painful, These are just the burn marks right now from the chemo medicines. But right. At that point of time, I was going through it. But I think just looking forward to finishing the film, every time I came to the studio, I listened to the music. I also sang a song in the film.
Wow.
It was just nice. It was just reminding me, we shot this, the memories. So it made me feel good. It actually helped me. I think it really helped me heal.
That's such a beautiful way to look at it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like any part of what you were going through found its way into the film because of what you were dealing with then?
No, not at that point of time. Of course, there were things maybe in the way I sang the song, because the final singing happened while I was not really that well. But my co-actor, not a co-actor, sorry, my actor in the film, we have Kirti Kulhari and Sharib Hashmi.
Yes.
So Sharib and we were discussing something, and he came to the hospital one day, and we started to think about something else that we want to do together. It's also because he has been a caregiver. His wife went through something different, but something similar. So we were discussing it, and then we started developing that, which is going to be a performance piece. So
I think you had your plate full at that point. Pun intended.
That's why. Yeah, yes, exactly. Honestly, the name came to me at that point of time. This is Full Plate. I think this is not only my story, it's everybody's story. I just had an extra
Layer,
layer,
huge, if
which,
one can call it that.
yeah. It was really a lot to take, because it was not only the film, but it was my personal life with my mom and my daughter, and I lost my dad to cancer a year and a half back.
It's a lot.
So, but every time someone asks me, I always tell them that I think it's the toughest on my mom, because to have lost my dad, and then just a year and a half later to see her daughter go through this at that age, it's just not easy. I really, even now, I feel that what I went through, I was just going through, and I was taking everything as it comes every day, just do what is needed today. But for her, it's been a very, very tough journey. And I mean, she's much better now.
So when you knew that you had the two of them dependent on you, like you said, I can imagine that's just a terrifying thought. But was there also, did it give you the will to live and to
Yes.
want to fight?
Yes, absolutely. The days in the chemo, I felt that, I would call my doctor and said, I don't want to do this. I mean, why am I doing this? Then I would wake up in the morning and I would say, no, I have to do it. I have people who love me. I have family who are dependent on me. I did send my daughter to New York, to my sister's place for 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah. And so my sister also has been extremely, extremely supportive, and the kind of stuff that she was able to do. She came down twice. She took Radhika for, so many months, took care of her. Of course, I mean, she has her work, her daughter, everything is, life is not easy for anyone.
It's okay to ask for help, Tanishta.
But I was just, this experience has also taught me to be fearless and shameless, both. That, I call my friends and say, hey, send me the car because I need it.
Well, speaking of friends, you also put out this really lovely post to just showcase what it was like to have wonderful women in your life. I know you
Yes.
have a group of lovely ladies, the likes of Shabana Azmi and Dia Mirza and Richa Chadha. Just talk to me about their presence in your life and how it helps in some way to ease this journey.
So, I mean, like I said, that it was actually my sister who told me, you have to reach out and you have to stop thinking that you are the strongest. And yeah, you are strong, but you need support. You need practical support as well. And that's when I reached out to a bunch of friends. And I mean, in this whole experience, I just feel that I have gained so much. I've lost weight, but I've gained so much more. I've realized that, all the negativity or, the doom, gloom news of the world, which does affect us as artists, that kind of like really cleaned up to see that, my God, there is so much love, so much care without any transaction. This has, like, I have nothing to offer to anybody. I only received. I mean, I felt at that point of time, when I was diagnosed, I felt that, maybe there are things that I've done wrong in my life. I've wronged people. This is why it's happening to me. You ask those philosophical questions. But when I received this support and this care, without which actually the healing would have been tough. I mean, of course, my doctors are amazing and they've helped me, the medicine, but this kind of support just made me feel that, oh yeah, life again, is worth living. There's so many people who love you and they're there for you. And there are such wonderful people in this world.
Absolutely. I read somewhere that we forget many times that it really is an honor to be able to be there for someone as well. And I'm sure they felt that way.
To
someone
I hope
who's
so.
been a friend to them.
Yes. And And it did not stop. The thing is that sometimes it happens in the beginning because the shock of the news.
Yeah.
But this was there throughout. It's still there.
That's amazing.
That sustenance is something so difficult, and I am really amazed. And sometimes I ask myself that, would I be able to do it? And it's so beautiful. And I was writing something which was about love, and there's one sentence that came to me that I thought you had gone as well, but this experience has taught me that no, it's so there.
What has this journey taught you about yourself?
I don't know. About myself, that's the toughest thing. I don't know. I didn't analyze it. Like I said, that I just reacted to everything that was happening day to day, whether it was finishing my film, whether it was doing practical things like, figuring out who's going to take my mom to the doctor today, or figuring out, how to get my daughter a comfortable sort of transition into this, not to give her a big shock, not to for her to make feel insecure. So everything was, or even fighting with insurance.
Oh
because
God, no one talks about that. It's
yes,
true.
yes, that was also there, right? So everything was just okay, doing things. And what I learned about myself is that I know that I always knew I was strong and all, but I can handle difficult situations. Extremely difficult situations.
Is this something that came as a new realization, or?
No, but also yes, because this has been too tough.
Absolutely. I had the privilege of watching the trailer with you before the rest of the world has, and it looks really, really interesting, and I love what you're trying to do with Full Plate. Talk to me about what of yourself you put into this film and why it
how
came
it
to you.
yeah.
Yes.
So it's based on someone real. I wouldn't get into the details of it because it could affect her life.
Okay.
But somebody that I kind of knew and saw and observed, and I found it very interesting when one day she came to my place. She was cooking for me for a very short period of time, and she was working in other people's home, and she came and said to me कि दीदी मेरे को तो ये अंग्रेजी सब्जियां बिल्कुल समझ में नहीं आती, और ये इतना महंगा खाने के बाद भी दीदी को एंजाइटी और भैया को एसिडिटी का प्रॉब्लम है.
It's true.
So I just laughed and I wrote that down. I was like, okay, I have to do something.
Yeah.
And then, of course, slowly I unfolded things about her life, and I realized, oh, there's much more to it, and this could be a full story.
Yeah. And also for you to go back to Busan must be feeling like full circle, because your debut film won an award there. Talk to me about what you're most excited about going back.
Well, I mean, Busan is, now it's like kind of a second home.
Yes.
And my first film, Rom Rom Mein, was before the pandemic. And I'm super excited and super thrilled that, we are premiering it. The world premiere is there, and my entire team is going to be with me. Kirti, Share, my producers, everybody's going to be there. So that's really quite amazing. And my daughter, actually, she said to me, "You're going to Korea." Oh no, because all these K-pop
bands.
She's listening to Golden every day, and she said, "Are you going to meet so and so, so and so, so and so?" I'm like, well, give me the list because I don't know.
Yes, I want you to just take me back to a day during this journey where you were sitting on the post of this film and achieving what you've set out to achieve as a team while going through everything that you were, and you just felt particularly proud of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shame. Like I told you, I've become fearless and shameless both. I patted myself. I said, "Yeah, look at this. Like tomorrow, I have my next chemo, and today I'm sitting here and I'm fixing, things in the sound and something that didn't work in the music. Great."
I just want to get up
And
and give.
my group of friends, they said the same thing to me. They gave me the thumbs up. They said, "Yes, Dan, go ahead and do this."
We need to talk a little bit about just female friendships
Yeah.
and how they enable us in ways that when we least expect.
Yeah.
Talk to me about a moment where one of these friends just gave you hope that you were seeking then.
See, all of them did turn by turn, and they took
How did
turns
this group
to
form? Sorry, curiosity just gets the better of me.
just I mean, it just happened. It's something organic. We used to meet in parties, different, we all scattered, and then suddenly, it formed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so that's one group, that female, friendships that we're talking about. And then what happened is this one group started including my other friends into my healing group,
Wow.
because they also figured that there are other people who are there, who also live close by, who are also very, very close to me, and who are very close friends. And everyone has taken turns in the hospital during my chemo, because IVRs are quite painful. And we used to have a blast in my room. Yeah, it was singing, stand-up comedy, jokes, politics, like we were solving the problems of the world, doing everything. And my nurses, they used to come in between and say, "Ma'am, hospital hai." But they were always really curious as well, that इस कमरे में चल क्या रहा है. So all my chemo cycles, everybody was like planning, all my friends, like, and they did it on their own. I wasn't doing this. They figured it out. They formed a group and said that, "Oh, okay, so and so will go from this time to this time." And then, I would be going out and, "Okay, Tan needs someone there. This day she needs a car. That day someone has to go to the doctor." Like, this was...
It's karma.
I mean, yeah, कुछ तो जिंदगी में अच्छा किया होगा मैंने.
How incredible.
To have such amazing people.
That really is so incredible that life just enveloped you and then helped you solve as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. And if like one of my domestic helps, she had to go on chutti for like 20 days. Then my group was like, "Okay, now we need to replace the domestic help also." I mean, things like this.
Wow.
Yeah.
But really, one of the reasons I did want to talk to you is just this feeling of hope, right? You really are a beacon of light for so many who could possibly be dealing with this in some parts of the world. Where did you derive your strength from? And what would you say to someone perhaps going through this in their own world?
So there were two places that I think I derived strength from. One is, of course, the love that I received from my family and my friends, the love and support, unconditional.
So reach out shamelessly.
Absolutely. The second is that I felt, there was a day when my insurance was also kind of... That day I reached like the lowest, and there was from there it could only be better. And this whole fearlessness, where I felt that, okay, life is so fragile, it's nothing, you just live day to day. And it became like, chalo yaar, theek hai, kya hai? Everybody has to go one day. I will live life. I'll finish my film. I'll have fun with my friends. I will send my daughter to New York. I will enjoy.
And how did you tap this side of you?
I don't know. I think maybe because I'm an actor. Because we transit from scenes and emotions like this. So I was constantly doing that. One moment I was feeling that, oh, how am I going to cope up with all this? And the other moment, one phone call from one great friend and a pep talk like this, I was like, yeah, nothing is wrong with me. I'll be fine. And I would tell my mother, just don't get depressed. Don't say all these things. It'll all be fine. What do you want me to do?
And who did you allow yourself to be vulnerable with, given that you were being the superhero?
You know, that's what some of my friends said, that we want to see those vulnerable sides of you as well when you are feeling down. I mean, that's one thing that I'm not comfortable letting other people in. But yeah, of course, my mom and my sister, they saw that side. They saw the difficult side as well. Because at times I was being unreasonable and difficult. But then I mean, one day my sister said that to me, and I said, listen, at this point of time, I'm allowed that.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, firstly, making a film, dealing with all of this, did you ever have moments of just wanting to give up on everything and being like, to hell with the world? And how did you power through that?
Yeah, there were points where I thought that I am going to leave everything and everybody and just disappear. You know, disappear somewhere, you know, a place, maybe Cairo, because it's been my childhood dream to go to Egypt.
Okay.
Not Dharamshala, Cairo. Yeah, most people would say the Himalayas, and no, I mean, I had some days I had that feeling. Some days I would feel that, you know, this is, but then most of the days I actually felt very positive. I felt that and one of the primary reasons is the support. You know, when I spoke about my condition on social media, I got many direct messages from people who are fighting very serious illnesses, not only cancer but other forms of illness. And many people reached out to me saying that, oh my God, you have such beautiful people around you. We don't. Wow. It's been so lonely, this whole battle. And I think it's very, very important to be surrounded by people who care. And that gives you, that gave me the strength and the energy to be here with you today and talk. Like 8 months back, I really thought, I didn't think it was true. I didn't know what is ahead. How many months more? That was the condition. I mean, I asked my doctor, do I need to think about a plan B for my daughter? If I don't undergo treatment, how long do I have? So that was a very serious question. Yeah. So people and their support it's humongous. That's all that matters. Nothing else matters.
Such an amazing realization, right?
Yeah, nothing else matters. No money, no insurance, no nothing, no work. It's only people and love. That's all that matters. And I don't know, like, I mean, that's one thing that I realize. I mean, I think we all know it.
Deep down, yes.
Yes. But now it's inside me that nothing in this world matters. What are we chasing? What are we doing?
Which brings me to, is there a fear, given the nature of the business, whether it will impact the work that comes your way?
I don't care.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow, but is this thoughts that you've had to process?
Yes, because so obviously there were like financial things when I was dealing with insurance and all, and you know, I knew that for the next 1 year, I don't know how I'm going to earn a living. I have people dependent on me. You know, all those things
Real
are definitely
things,
there.
yes.
But somewhere deep down, I slowly started coming out of it. And like I said, I started creating something. Like Sharib and I, we are doing something together. And there are other people who are joining in now to support that. Just things are just happening. I think we just have to channelize. See, we are creators, right? Whether we are actors, writers, directors, musicians, we create. And how do we create? We create it from our experience. And when the universe has given me an experience, there must be a reason. And it's not only about like creating, but I think through that through that creation, I am bound to do something more. And that's why I've had this experience. There can't be any other reason. So I'm just focusing myself on that. The rest will happen.
Yeah. Being an actor, perhaps vanity was a big part of, not in your case, I'm sure, but what does it take to actually have to own this new look the way that you are with so much charisma and grace?
That has taken time. Also, it was a slow process during my chemo where one by one things were happening.
Yeah.
You know, there are, of course, the cosmetic things of the hair loss and the eyebrows and lashes and all these IVR burn marks. Those are cosmetic things, but there are also many internal things, like because your gut goes for a toss, you have numbness because the nerves and the veins are all getting affected. You can't eat most of the things. There are so many things that I love eating and that now I have to be aware. Lifestyle change, though, it's not that I had a very reckless lifestyle. So, but there are still some shifts that I have made. So those things have happened. In terms of this cosmetic thing, yeah, it's taken me a little time. But then again, it's that fearlessness which I just feel that I don't care. As long as I'm feeling good inside, I don't care. The day I feel that, oh, I'm not feeling good in my gut, or which hasn't happened in a long while now. Actually, I'm feeling much better now than I used to before.
Oh my God.
Yes. Because maybe I'm so clean now. I'm eating in a particular way. I'm drinking. I'm waking up in the morning. I'm going for my walks, So maybe it's that. But as long as internally I'm feeling fine, I'm feeling the energy and I'm feeling positive, I don't care about the cosmetic things.
To be able to say that when so much of your work depended on just,
And I really think if I don't care, no one else will care.
I think you're so right about that.
Yes. I think we underline it for others when we are conscious about something that we feel is not right.
Do you want to talk to me a little bit about how you came to this realization? Because again, it's just not just actors. As people, we're just so consumed by the external and the vanity of all of it. So it feels really liberating to be able to look at you feeling so in touch with you and not just the outside.
So there's something I feel is it's a duality with actors, because as actors, we need to be so much in touch with ourselves. And we have to, a good actor is always reminded that think about your inner, forget about the external and get your inner right, and the external will come on its own. But then there's another aspect, which is the show biz, right? And that has to do with the external.
Yeah.
I have never been that kind of a person. So maybe it was a little easier for me, therefore, to even more blatantly say, hey, I don't care.
Yeah. Again, finally, leave me with hope. What is the nicest thing that's come out of this journey for you, and what are you most excited for in the months to come?
Well, right now I'm leaving for Busan in 2 days. So that's really exciting. Our film is not in competition, but it is in a section which still does have certain awards. So let's see. And I'm very excited that my team is there, Kirti and Sharib and my producers, and going back to Busan. I'm looking forward to my daughter's come back from New York now, and her school now, she started resuming her school and her piano classes, and so I'm looking forward to just again spending a lot of time with her, and I'm looking forward to this new venture that we're doing now, which has directly, indirectly impressions of what I went through in the last 8 months, but in a very positive way, and